Hey, Gamer Tag Radio, we have brand new designs. Yes, brand new designs at our store. Take advantage right now. Go to store.gamertagradio.com. That's store.gamertagradio.com. Brand new t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, posters, and so much more. Go ahead and support GTR.
Ladies and gentlemen, podcasting since 2005. You're listening to Gamertag Radio with your hosts, podcaster Hall of Famer Danny Pena, the always opinionated Paris Lilly, and from outside of the norm, Peter Toledo. This is Gamertag Radio.
All right, welcome to Gamertag Radio, episode 1010. This is your host, Danny, and joining me, as usual, we have Paris here, co-host of the show. What's going on, Paris?
Hey, good morning. How's everyone doing?
Good morning, man. And also, all the way from Europe, we got Pete. What's going on, Pete?
Gang. What's up, dude?
You're back? So you're officially back?
I'm back.
Oh, snap. Oh, man.
What's up, fellas?
So, yeah, man, it's been a while, like us three, you know. It's good, man. It's good that we're going to start doing this again, man. So, how's everything with you guys, man, with this whole coronavirus? Any updates or what?
I don't know. From my perspective, I mean, I'm traveling back and forth for work, so going to the airport, it is odd seeing travel impacted the way it has been. Working in the hospitality industry now, seeing the impact from a financial perspective, from a human perspective. I work for a hotel chain, an international hotel chain now, and seeing how this is affecting the industry as well as the people. Like they're stuck on property, right? They can't leave because they're in quarantine. It's a struggle, man. It's not good, right? And I'm hopeful that we can find a cure soon, so that way people can start visiting, start getting back to normal, a normal sense of life and getting back with their friends and family and not have to be hindered by this. And it's pain.
Yeah, definitely, man. What about you, Paris? California?
For me, yeah, I spent the week with my job making sure we basically had our business continuity plan in place, getting all our workers set up for remote. It's like kind of just relating it to gaming. People been following Bungie or whatever. They did a similar thing where everyone's working from home. We're doing the same thing. So we're at 90% of our staff in San Diego. They're all working remote. We are going to do that until at least April 6th. And the reason that date is significant is because all of our children are out of school until that time. And then we're going to reevaluate and see where we go from there. So basically, I'm home until April 6th. We'll reevaluate, see what's going on. But I mean, for me, it's not that bad because I can do my job anywhere. As long as I got an internet connection and a command line, I'm good. So it's fine. I mean, I'm set up fine at home to be able to do my job and everything that I need to do. I know there's going to be certain people at the office that'll have a little bit of an adjustment and a struggle with this, but hey, I'd rather err on the side of caution, man. And the fact that my company stepped up and just didn't hesitate to get all this stuff implemented, I commend them, and just the messages from our CEO that's come out. It's like everyone's safety and health is more important than trying to force someone to sit in a seat at a job. We have the technology to work from home, so that's exactly what we're doing. So it's fine. I've joked that, the fact that all of us are going to be here at the house for the next 3 weeks, pretty sure I'm going to get divorced in a week. I'm pretty sure that's happening between my wife and I, and then just the kids. And it just sucks because all my kids' sports have been canceled. So my son was in 3 basketball leagues, all gone. One league, he was about to go into the championships, no playoffs, nothing. They're done. He was about to start playing 8th grade middle school basketball, done. He was in the travel leagues. He played in the Mamba tournaments and all that stuff, done. My daughter is playing volleyball, done. My oldest daughter had a drama meet at Cal State Fullerton this weekend, gone. It's just everything's gone. There's no sports on TV. There's like literally nothing. Wow. All there is Spotify, Netflix, and video games. That's all I got. There's nothing else. So
yeah, you know, the other day, actually last night I was checking out this app called Hopper. Because I was just curious to see how much is like just to travel. And from New York to Miami, $80 round trip. Like everything is like cheap because the airlines, man, they're hurting, man. All the companies are hurting big time, man. Actually, here in New York, it's business as usual. I mean, there's still people in the streets, still people working around. I live like around the Harlem area, so. But movie theaters gone, Broadway shows gone. I mean, the trains is not as packed as before, but there's still people, you know, driving around the city. And I had a couple meetings that I had to go next week, and it looks like we're all gonna do it just remotely through Skype or Zoom because nobody's gonna go to work, man. So yeah, we just gotta get used to it, man. Gotta get used to it. So I've been putting a lot of hours with like Ori and the Division too because of that, man. You know, so head over to Gamertag Radio and post your comments and feedback. Make sure to subscribe and just search for GTR and help us out. All right. Also, if you have questions for us, if you want to be part of Fan Mail, here how you could contact us.
Send us your feedback or questions. Give us a call at 786-273-7GTR. Email us at fanmail@gamertagradio.com or leave a message on speakpipe.com/gamertagradio.
All right, so we have a couple of news here, and this is interesting one because Paris, I think, was the one that started a conversation at first about this, and then I've been seeing like articles from like Forbes and a couple other places where they talk about like the analysts are predicting that the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X most likely will be delayed due to the coronavirus. And actually, I went to an event a couple of weeks ago, and there was some people there from a company. I'm not going to mention the name, but there was also, we were talking about just like manufacture and consoles and everything, and it looks like that they haven't decided when they're going to release their product because of the same situation. Like it's been kind of tough for them. The factories over there in China has been shutting down because of the whole coronavirus and everything. So it sounds like it might happen. I mean, do you think that's going to hurt Microsoft and Sony if they release this at a different time or no, instead of the holidays?
It's three of us now, so please let us know who you're talking to. But I'll answer your question, Danny.
Yeah. I gotta get used to this. You the captain. I gotta get used to this now. Yeah. All three of us here. Yeah.
No. But seriously, yes and no. Ultimately, in the long run, no, because people are going to run out and buy these consoles whenever they release. Short term, potentially, because they would miss the holiday window. And I think no matter what they do at this point, there's not going to be as many PlayStation 5s and Xbox Series X's out there in the wild as they originally intended. Because again, we've said this for weeks now. All it takes is one part to get delayed. That's it. One. Mm-hmm. And that's going to screw up the whole thing. So it'll be interesting to see, with this coronavirus. I know in China, it sounds like people are starting to go back to work. They've somewhat got this thing under control, which obviously is a good sign. I mean, really, it's just a waiting game to see how this works over the summer and just how many units can get produced. I don't see them delaying it. I see them, no matter what they're able to produce, having a quote unquote launch this holiday. If there's just simply not enough hardware out there, it's very similar to something Nintendo's done in the past. They'll launch and then there's just more demand. There's less supply, more demand creates just more interest in the product. So I think even if it's a soft launch and they only have, say, a few million that they can actually release, I think they still do it. I don't see either one holding back until spring 2021.
What about you, Pete?
Is it surprising? No. I mean, we're not the only industry either that's totally affected by this. What was it? Couple of weeks ago, they said that manufacturing of iPhones were going to be severely impacted as well. Anything coming out of Asia, I mean, think about it. as much as countries like to push the, we're going to, we're trying to stay local with manufacturing, a lot of things common day to day, normally, things that you wouldn't even consider. A lot of that is made overseas. What was it? I think I was in a conversation the other day and I can't remember who was mentioning it, but shipments are even delayed because all of the shipping containers are stuck in China because there's nobody on the boat. There's nobody on the docks to actually empty them out because everybody's on quarantine and they can't go to work. So things that would normally be shipped quicker or through normal channels for business overseas, they're impacted because there's not enough shipping containers to be used because the people at the docks aren't at work in order to empty them and put them back up so that they can be filled back up for things to be shipped out. So the fact that memory chips and hard drives, even for work, I've got a lead time now for hard drives for our data center that would normally be 1 to 2 weeks to get hard drives. It's now 5 to 8 weeks to get to get hard drives and things for our server infrastructure. As we're opening up new hotels and properties, one in New York, as a matter of fact, Danny, as you know, we have to actually stagger now our ordering for our server infrastructure in New York and add, I think it's like 6 weeks of lead time in order to hope that the manufacturers have been able to make all that equipment, all that, all those gears and pieces in time for us to get it in time that we can hopefully open when we're planned. So yeah, if we're delayed by 3 months, maybe 6 months, I am not surprised at all.
Man, 6 to 8 weeks, Pete. Ooh, that's a long time. That's a long time. Oh my God. Like, I was thinking about this. Like, let's say the consoles get delayed. Let's just make believe, especially for the Xbox, because you can still play these games on the older consoles. Do you think the games also should be delayed because of it? Like, Halo Infinite, let's say,
physical,
for example.
Maybe.
Instead of
physical, maybe, but digital, no. Digital doesn't.
No, that's
it's
not going to
be
make
impacted
sense,
at all. Now the thing is,
no, but I'm saying should they release it? That's what I'm saying. Should they?
Why not?
Well, what do you think? You sitting there asking this question? Should they?
I think they should.
No,
I think they should. In my opinion, I think
Why?
Because I think that will be a great way to promote the product, like to promote the Xbox Series X, or I don't know, Horizon Zero Dawn, I guess, like for the PlayStation 5. Like, I think it'll be good, man. Just to have it to at least like for example, Zelda. It was supposed to come out for the Wii U, but it got pushed back until the release of the Nintendo Switch, and then Nintendo released it for both consoles. So just to create that buzz for that console, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I think it'll be fine to delay for a couple more months. Plus it will give 343 more time to work on these games, to work on the game on Halo. I don't see a problem with that.
I'm going to respectfully disagree. And the reason I am is because that goes against Microsoft's entire strategy this generation. Play where the hell you want. Everybody, PC's still going to be there. The original Xbox One is still going to be there. Project X Cloud is going to be there. So just because your most powerful system may get delayed a few months, why is everyone else being punished for that? Because again, fidelity wise, visuals and all that, you can still showcase Halo Infinite on the PC. It's going to look just as good. Look, that thing's going to be able to play Halo Infinite way better than what the Series X is. I already know that, right? So why am I being punished to not be able to get Halo Infinite this holiday when that's what you promised? Because of the coronavirus delayed the Series X a few months. I disagree on. But
I mean, unless Microsoft has like a game for launch for the Series X, then that's okay. But if there's nothing really for spring, then why not just save it? I mean, in my opinion, that's just you know. Pete, what you think, Pete?
I don't see a reason why they would delay it or why they should delay it, especially now you've got people staying home. All the more reason for them to actually play their, and they have all that much more time. Like Paris said, you know, he's going to be, you know, stuck at home for the next 2-3 weeks. And what was it you said the other day on chat? I think it was yesterday. You're bored already, or was it this morning?
Yeah. I was like, I know I'm already bored because I'm going down conspiracy Twitter feeds like the crazy console war dudes. I'm like reading their timelines, and I go, "This guy's insane." I'm already bored.
Oh my God, we're gonna see more of that because people are just gonna be home, bored, posting like the most craziest things online, man. Insane, man. Yeah. All right, so look, man. Whoever's listening to this, please send us your thoughts. Should delay the game Halo Infinite because of it? Release it in November, and with your thoughts about the consoles. Should Microsoft and Sony release in November around that time, the holiday season, or just early next year? Please let us know. Fanmail at gamertagradio.com. You were gonna say something, Paris? I heard you.
Do they?
No, I did not.
Does 343 have studios overseas?
No, it's
just
in
the one studio in Seattle. Yeah,
they can work from home technically.
Yeah.
Why would
Speaking
it be
of that, there's a lot of other companies too that's around that same area where Microsoft 343, Turn 10. I know Nintendo, Valve. There's a couple other companies there, gaming wise, that. Oh, Amazon, I believe, too. So there's been a report that actually was confirmed from Nintendo of America that there's one of their employees also has a coronavirus, man. So, yeah, everybody has to work now from home. That's crazy, man. I think that's the first person, from the gaming industry that's been confirmed already. What do you guys think, man?
People losing their jobs. It's a foregone conclusion, especially when you take into consideration people are working hourly or based on specific content. Retail is going to be hit hard. People aren't going to be trying to go out shopping. I mean, I've seen it here in Europe already. You know, malls are not as packed or busy as they normally are, especially on weekends. So, you know, think about people in the service industry, in restaurants and bars and stuff like that. When they're limiting the amount of people that can be in an establishment, I think the number's down to 50. And I can't remember if that's here
in Washington.
No, in Europe.
No, Washington is 250, no more than 250 in Washington.
That's why
State.
I said I can't remember if it's here or over there. And when I say here, remember I'm in Europe.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
I think the number is 50. I know here in Switzerland they reduced it originally from 1,000 down to 100 last week.
Wow. Major jump.
I think in restaurants here it's 50. So or you can get up to, I think 50 to 75 depending on the size of your restaurant. So, hey, foregone conclusion. There's going to be people that are going to be impacted negatively as a result.
All right, Paris, anything you want to say about that or no? Just move on.
Yeah, we just can move on. I will say this one thing. I would tell everyone just with the coronavirus scare, if you want to educate yourself. Again, I've talked in the past about Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan did a podcast this week, with Michael Osterholm. I believe that's how you're saying his name. He is the director for the Center of Infectious Disease and Research. And he broke down this whole thing, its origins, how it spread, how much longer it's going to go, everything involved with the coronavirus to kind of just give you the expectation of what to think. I mean, we were talking about a vaccine earlier. He was saying minimum 6 months before we even see something like that potentially. But what we're doing right now with the self-quarantine and asking people to not congregate in big crowds, this is how you stop the spread of it, right? So this is what we have to do. And look, I know people try to roast me because I went to the gym the other day, but I went to the gym, but I also took precautions. I brought, antivirus and antibacterial wipes with me. I wiped down the equipment. I wasn't shaking hands. I'm washing my hands after every time I did a set, things like that. I'm trying to be smart about it. I'm not going to end my life and just be a hermit when I can be smart about it at the same time, because here's the thing. You're just as much a risk when you go to Costco and you fighting people over toilet paper as you would going to the gym, things like that. You just have to take precautions as you go out and do these things, and just, again, be smart about it. Don't be reckless. Don't be Rudy Gobert. And I know he feels horrible and embarrassed about the stuff that he did, but he's literally the poster child of what not to do. Right. Mm-hmm. So as long as we're smart about it, as long as we keep educating ourselves on the virus, how it spreads, what symptoms look like, things like that, then, we'll nip this thing in the bud sooner than later.
And you know what, Paris, you're not the only one. I think I've been seeing a lot of tweets of people being attacked on social media just because they're either going to the gym or going somewhere like to get something to eat, or like, I think people have to control themselves too, man. Like, relax. It's everything's going to be fine. Like you said, you were being smart about it, but they don't know. They just see your picture and they're like, "Oh, Paris, why are you doing this?" Like, people are just attacking you without even doing research or anything. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's part of today's society at the end of the day anyways, right? They're just going to reach for, those conclusions immediately and go for the negative. At the end of the day, your action should be the exact same as it should have been 6 months ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. Don't get up into people's business or personal space, and be clean. Wash your hands. Don't be running up and down the stairs licking handrails and stuff like that, which I've seen a video of a kid doing that. And I literally wanted to jump into the internet, but still, be honest and just be careful. Be cautious. Don't be, if you know that you're not supposed to be standing close to other people, don't be all up in their space. And wash your hands. Like, I've been on an airplane for the past 2 weeks going back and forth for work. I come home from the airport. I take a shower, I wash my clothes, I wash my hands. I went to the gym when I was at the hotel. Same thing. Like Paris said, wipe it down before you start, wipe it down before you're done, or when you're done, and go on to the next thing. It's common sense. And I think a lot of people are just lacking that in today's society. Sorry, I'll jump off. I'm going to jump off the. I'll jump off the box.
It's all good. It's all good. All right, so we're gonna move forward, man. I don't want to focus too much on the whole coronavirus. Just everybody educate yourself, wash your hands, and just be aware what's going on around your area. But also, I'm glad that Pete's also here, because I'm super curious to hear everybody's thoughts about the Division 2 Warlords of New York that came out over a week ago, and the expansion, for those who don't know. And let's go from there, man. I know Paris and P, you guys were playing the other day online. P was actually streaming, and I was dying to hear Paris' reaction and P's reaction once you complete the game.
Oh man, you should have been there.
I'm not gonna. I know. I watched it. I watched it recorded though, not live, but. Without spoiling everything, just your thoughts overall of just the campaign of the Division 2 Warlords of New York for you guys.
It's the most engaged I've been into a Division story, period. Between a Division 1 and a Division 2, I thought they did a good job of setting up future events. Again, trying not to spoil things, but it was good. Keener was obviously a great adversary to have. I loved how you had the rogue agent lieutenants that you had to go after. We talked about this during the preview event. Everyone drops a unique skill, almost like Mega Man. You can tackle it any way you want. It was good. It was a good story. And again, I'm sure someone's probably clipped it at this point, but my reaction on stream, I think, said it all.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah. It was really good. Really good. Yeah. What about you, Pete, very quick about the campaign?
No, I'm digging it. It got me back into the game and just the hype of the changes, Gear 2.0. I like how some of the things are scaled. I like some of the weapon balancing. I like how they've made other weapons a little bit more usable, a little bit more enjoyable. Mm-hmm. Shotguns, surprisingly for me, are something that I actually jump into now. I'm actually starting to use them because they're actually, useful. I'm not a PvP person, so don't expect to see me in the dark zone and things like that. I'm much more comfortable and familiar playing in the PvE setting. So, people on our Discord or people that are watching or listening to this, if you need a Sherpa, feel free to jump into Discord and LFG looking for someone. I'm always happy to run around listening to Paris's response on that. And if you haven't seen it, I'll find it. I was actually watching it right before we started, looking for that clip. But yeah, I'm not gonna post the video. I just want to post the audio of it because it's hilarious.
Yeah, it's really good.
Just listening to his response, and then shout out to Rem and Foxy for jumping in and joining in with that. It made it a lot more enjoyable having that's what games like that are all about. Yes, you can jump in and you can do them solo, but when you're jumping in with friends and playing that, and hell. You got Paris on the West Coast of this, in California. You have Rem, I believe he's on the East Coast or Texas, if I'm not mistaken. He's over here with me. Okay. And then you've got, Foxy in Denmark, I believe. And then you got me here in Switzerland, and the four of us were playing around the world, like a truly global group event there. Like, right. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And once you complete the campaign, that's when you unlock the end game, which I'm hooked even more now because the new season for the Division 2 Warlords of New York just came out, and it's actually pretty good, man. There's also a separate campaign with that, so you have to do like certain things to unlock the new bosses, and every 2 weeks or so, a new boss will get unlocked. And I already defeated the first one, which is really cool. And I love playing with our clan. Shout out to D-Rock, Arctic, also Death. We've been Kev. You know who he is, Pete. But we've been playing a lot of the Division 2, man. And actually, we tried to play also Heroic, brutal.
Mm-hmm.
That thing is tough, and also Legendary, even worse. It took us forever. Like we even ran out of bullets. But like you said, P, about shotgun, I've never was a fan of the shotgun in the game, and now I've been using that a lot. I think my damage is like 1.1 million. I think right now, just using the shotgun.
You should be getting more. It's
really good, man. It's really.
You should be getting more. I would check your perks and your rolls, and your damage modifiers and things like that. Because I'm getting that on. That on my AR, and if I can get that on my AR, I know I can definitely get that definitely get more than that on shotgun.
Yeah, I should definitely check, man. I definitely should check. But I've been making changes here and there, and I'm loving the game, man. I love the new loot drops, which is good. I've been finding a couple of exotics too in the game, and it feels like now there's a reason for me to go back. Before, I would just do like daily challenges for like a little bit and just stop, and then I won't go on to like maybe a couple of days or so on. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it feels good playing the game back, and now there's reasons for me to go back, So, anything else from you guys about that?
No, I have. If you're looking for Sherpas and PC only, hit me up, and then just go ahead and throw in something in the Division channel on our Discord server, and somebody will definitely jump in and help you out.
Yeah, actually, in a couple of days, I think tomorrow, the league is unlocking. I don't know much about that. Have you heard about that, PP, or no? About the league?
No, I haven't.
In the game, I think there's certain things.
I know
there's certain things you have to do, like ranked. I
know Double XP is still going on, and it's going to continue going on till Tuesday. So if you haven't had a chance, I'd definitely say jump in now while you can. Really jump on that Double XP stuff.
Yeah, I definitely got to do that. And I think after that is global events, which I am excited for that, man. That I think unlocks next week. And I like that every week there's something that's going to be going on. And then I believe after global events, it's where the new second boss unlocks. And then you have to do certain things like finish certain missions, go and take over like control points and so on. And then once you do all that, then the new boss will unlock, man. So, yeah.
Another thing to bring up would be the new, basically their new Armor 2.0, the new recalibration station, the recalibration library. I actually got a chance to really deep dive into that over the last day or so, and it really sets the gold bar moving forward for all these type of games. I'm talking Destiny included, to where now every time a piece of loot drops, it matters. It matters because even if it's a weapon that you have absolutely no need for, it could have an attribute or talent on it that you do want. It allows you to now grab all these attributes from these weapons, from these gear, put it stashing into your recalibration library, and basically build your own god rolls. Eventually, that's where it's headed. So, excuse me, just in my limited time with it over the last day or so, I've already pulled out quote unquote god roll attributes that as I get the weapons, you say I want a particular name weapons, there's a particular AR or something that I really want. If it doesn't roll with the right attributes that I want or the right talent that I want, I can now apply those as we go through the game. And I just think it keeps loot interesting. It keeps every time something drops, you're not immediately just junking it and throwing it away. I mean, the way I've been playing is I'm grabbing every piece of gear that drops. And then saying when I'm done with a mission or something, I basically go through it and review it. Yep, that's an attribute I want. That's something I don't need. So then when I go to my recalibration library, I'm able to pull that out. And I like that the new UI in the game is very intuitive, and it's kind of giving you these visual cues to let you know if something's good or not, you know, just by taking a look at it. You don't have to stash a bunch of gear and just hold on to a bunch of stuff, or, you know, where you're maxed out with everything that you're holding constantly because you're worried about, oh man, I might need that later. No, you're able to instantly now know what you need, what you don't need, pull the attribute or talent you want from it, stash it in your recal library, and then as you're going to your recal station and upgrading your weapons and gear, it's all available to you. It's a genius move by Massive. So really kudos to them for implementing this. And I guarantee you all these quote unquote looter shooter games will adopt this moving forward. I mean, it's just the smart move to do, and being able to, like I said, keep things interesting. You mentioned leagues and all that earlier. So yeah, right now, you know, season 1 has started. So, you know, we're chasing the new, I don't want to spoil stuff too much, but we're chasing new rogue agents. And when the seasons start up, it's going to give us new objectives and basically, you know, I don't know, what do you call it, challenge modes that we can do inside these seasons and leagues. And the first one does start, I believe it's the West Side. Is it West Side Pier?
Yes.
I believe that's the first one that starts. Mm-hmm. And that starts up this coming week. And again, gives us more things to do. So I feel like as I've been playing, like I said, Pete and those guys, we helped me finish the campaign the other day because I've just been so busy with work. I haven't had a chance to deep dive in. But now that I'm quote unquote in the end game and I'm chasing these other rogue lieutenants and, you know, going into Dark Zone, looking for, you know, specific targets and name weapons and things like that, I just feel like there is a lot to do in the end game. Now, I will caution people that we were saying the same exact thing a year ago when we got to the end game, when we quickly ran out of things to do. But it does seem like Massive, with the way that they've set up the seasons and the way they've set up the leagues, and like you mentioned, Danny, the global events and things like that, that there's going to be a lot of options for players to do not only solo, but obviously to play in co-op as well. So I'm excited to see how it plays out. And I would even say more so with the seasons. If you played Destiny 2 and you've seen how their battle pass works, this is very similar to that, where you have the free tier track and you also have the paid tier track. Anyone that got Warlords of New York, you get in the first season, you know, both the premium stuff for free. But then moving forward, as we get into season 2, the premium tier is $10, I believe, for the season, something like that. So just be wary of that as we move forward. But like, you know, I'm getting my striker gear right now as I'm going through it. So again, just part of what excites me about the Division 2 is now there is a real reason for build diversity. I can have my healer build. I can have my damage build. I can have my skill build, things like that. So you're able to now, again, taking all this into account with the recal library and things like that, you're able to act. There's literally a second mini game inside the game now where you can just tinker to get these different builds so that you can attack these objectives in different ways. So I say all that because we obviously got the legendary difficulty that's coming now, which is even more harder than heroic, and the raid is coming. So my hope is when that rate drops, it is going to force build diversity to tackle certain objectives. Because right now, all you got to do is get the highest damage build that you can, go in the raid, and you're good for all intents and purposes, right? And clearly a lot of the missions and things are always going to be that way because they're not going to make things overly difficult and diverse, for just the average player. But once you get into that end game and you get to that high end player, I want that kind of challenge that is going to force me to really deep dive into the RPG elements of this game. And that's what I'm hoping the raid's going to do. That's what I'm hoping these global events and just these higher tier legendary difficulty things are going to do. It's going to force us to literally sit down before we go into an objective. All right, you got that build, I got that build, I'm doing this, you're doing that. And we know our roles inside that mission or that raid or whatever the case may be, because that's part of the end game challenge. So, I'm excited to see how it's going to play.
That's the Pete. Part that has always perturbed me about this game, right? Is, like you said, we'll start off with the Foundry raid coming up. And I hope that they don't just buff the DPS for the named elites just to make it either more difficult or to prolong your completion of the raid, right? Because that, I think, was a crucial mistake on Massive's part with the first raid, right? Where people were having difficulty because they couldn't produce enough DPS or enough damage to down some of the, whether it was the dogs or it was bosses. And even if you had 8 people running around in a coordinated effort, it was only that 5% of players, which technically is what you're striving for to complete the raid. You want you want to be able to, that should be your peacock moment, I think is what they said when they did the intro for the game back at the beginning of last year, was I beat the raid, and I'm able to do it because I was able to, to complete it for whatever reasons. But I hope that they make builds of other types more important for you to complete it, where you can't just have 8 DPS monsters come in and just mow everything down. You have to have healers. You have to have supports. You have to have shields to help block the bullets so that your DPS or your support guy can come in and either mow down and keep them, behind cover, or you set up the shield and you're able to block bullets while the healer comes up and heals your DPSs. It's other mechanics like that I've never seen here that they did in Destiny, right? So like, for example, the Titan Shield was perfect to help deflect some of the boss, DPS waves coming in, but you didn't see that in the Division. So that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that the other builds and the other perks and talents become more effective and more required for you to complete the raid.
You're listening to Gamertag Radio.
Do you know that 2 out of 3 guys will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time they're 35? Well, that's me, right? But the good news is, with today's advancements, Keeps offers a proven treatment that can help combat the symptoms of hair loss and help you keep the hair you have at half the cost of your local pharmacy. That's the great thing about using Keeps, right? You don't have to go broke just to avoid going bald. And now they offer a generic version of it so that you can try them and at a lower cost than you would normally would. Prevention is the most important thing. That's the real part of how Keeps treatments really work. They're up to 90% effective at reducing and stopping further hair loss. And that's something that I really need to take advantage of, right? Because mine is starting to creep to the back of my head. So if you would like to try to reduce and stop further hair loss, the sooner you start using Keeps, the more hair you'll save. So act fast. And if you're ready to take action and prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/GTR to receive your first month of treatment for free. That's KEEPS.com/GTR.
GTR listeners worldwide, we need your support. We're still looking for donations. We're not going to E3, but like we said a couple episodes ago, we're planning to upgrade our equipment. Yes, that's video and audio. So we need your donation. So all you have to do is go to donate.gamertagradio.com. That's donate.gamertagradio.com and make your donation, even if it's $1. Anything helps. We appreciate your support. So once again, make your donation now so we could upgrade equipment and we could create better content for the show. So that's donate.gamertagradio.com. That's donate.gamertagradio.com. Thank you for all the support.
This is Gamertag Radio. Voicemail at 786-2737-GTR.
I'm going to say that I agree with that. And also, I was going to ask you guys, because I've been finding a couple bugs. It's not that much. And I hope Massive fixes like super quick. But like, we were not going to mission and one of our players just died and I can't revive him. And we're trying to revive him the whole time. We're like in the middle of a war going on, you know. But that's been happening to you guys, because I've been encountering that like a lot in the game.
I think what you're describing, I want to say I saw it once. We had that happen once, and then person obviously just had to reboot and just come back into the game altogether. But I mean, hey, you know how this works.
Bugs.
I mean, there's always going to be these minor bugs. I would say overall, no real issues, no game breaking technical issues that I've seen.
Yeah. I think there was one, but that was like the first few days that I couldn't unlock the missions, because you have to talk to the community leaders. And I think the other one was once you complete the campaign, there was another side mission. I couldn't unlock that one, but now I went back after the update and it wasn't there. So I don't know if we're going to see that in the future or what. I have to like watch the updates from the team to see. But yeah, besides that, everything is good. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's bugs. It happens, you know. Were you going to say something?
Yeah.
Pete? Oh, Pete, Paris?
Well, yeah, what I was going to say was just going back to the raid point that you were talking about, Pete. I also think this is part of why this second raid has been delayed so long, because I think they realize if you look at the Operation Dark Arts, which I love, it's a great raid. It's a fun raid to play. Like, that first encounter is nothing but a DPS check. That's all it is. It's just better have all this damage or you're not going to get past them. And it's just like you said, I've been doing Destiny raids for freaking 5 years. So I have that expectation of where certain classes have to bring a certain skill to it to be able to get past an encounter, right? So, but with the Division, we haven't seen that yet, because again, nothing's mattered except DPS. That's it. And make a call out here or a call out there, but that's really about it. So I'm super hopeful that this will now be the case with Warlords of New York when we get this new raid, that, you know, it is going to force people to actually have to do diverse builds. I mean, of various types. That's the hope. Like, sure, you're going to need your tank DPS. I'm absolutely, of course, you're going to have a couple of those, but I want a couple of healers as well. I wanted a couple diverse skill builds as well. You know, it's going to force people to really dive into the RPG side of this game, because there is a whole layer of this game that I personally feel a lot of people don't get to experience because they're not forced to actually do it. Just get a gun, does a bunch of damage, and they can get past all the encounters. So I really hope this is an opportunity for Massive to be able to explore that. And I'll finally say this, because if I have any complaints, this is a review of the Division 2. My biggest complaint, and I've said this since we went to the preview event, is I still have zero incentive to do any type of PvP activity outside of the Dark Zone. And even the Dark Zone, I've gone in there a few times, but I don't really feel forced to go in there yet to go get something. I'm still waiting on that giant carrot that's going to force me to go into the Dark Zone and really have to engage with people. And I know there's been people complaining about the time to live, time to kill, I should say, you know, as far as, you know, Dark Zone activities, you know, when you do have to do PvP activities. So that's something else they need to tweak as well. I will still say until my dying breath, the 3 Dark Zones were a mistake. And they were a mistake because there are only 12 players. And because there are only 12 players, I know they've done some server back-end things with the matchmaking to try and keep, quote unquote, full servers or full Dark Zones, but still not enough. It still doesn't, I don't feel worried when I go into Dark Zone. And the first game, I was sweating bullets every time I went in.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And that to me is the big difference that they need to fix. I understand it's not something you can snap your finger and do, but I hope there's something on the roadmap to either introduce a brand new Dark Zone that's just a bigger play space, or somehow, some way combine these three. I don't know. I don't work there, so I don't know. But I hope there is. Yeah, well, let's not get into survival. That's another mode. That's another mode as well. But there's still things that Division 2 can do. But absolutely, this Warlords of New York, this is their Taken King for sure. This, to me, gets the game back on track. It gets people engaged to play it again. Every time I've gone in now, there's always people playing. I know it's been out a week or so that helps. But I feel like people are talking positive about the game again and are engaged with it. And that's all you can ask.
Definitely. And now my question, when do you think they should release the raid? After the season is over or before? Yeah,
definitely after this season. I don't see a reason to do it in season 1. Let people get used to the game. Let people get used to the new mechanics and the way things work. Give people actual time to create various builds before you say, all right, guys, here's the raid. Now go beat it. And everyone's like, wait, what? We just got the game 2 weeks ago. So
yeah.
So I hope where are we at right now? I guess going into April, maybe by the end of April, May, up in there somewhere.
The season is going to be, I believe it's a couple of weeks, man. It's a very long season. So, because I think just one boss is 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks or so.
Oh, no. Isn't it 3 months? I think the season's 3 months, right?
I think so.
Or am I tripping?
So.
Anyways, I guess I shouldn't say that after the season, but just time-wise, give us at least a month before introducing the raid. A month to 6 weeks. Let's put it that way.
And it gives people time to develop these various builds. Hopefully that is the direction that they're going. It gives them time to build a DPS build or a support build or a tank build or a shield build. Gives them time. I'd rather have multiple loadouts so that when we go in that first time, it's like, okay, damn, we're all running in DPS build. Nobody's got a hive. nobody's going to be able to heal. Let me switch over. Let you guys do that. And it gives us time to experiment and play around with those to appreciate a different type of build, right? Oh, let me run pulse. Agreed. Or let me run drone, or let me run the new sticky bomb. Have you guys used that? Have you guys picked it up yet?
No, I haven't. I picked it up, but I haven't really been using it.
Yeah, that was a fan favorite in the first one, and like I know that they got a lot of flack for not bringing it back, and I'm glad to see that they listened and brought it back.
That's good.
Yeah, I've not played around with it yet either. Ironically enough, I've been messing around with, and this goes back to last year, is the mines and the pulses, because I just never really engaged with those too much, previously. So just kind of backtracking, playing around with that.
Yeah. All right, but everybody's listening, please send me your thoughts and let us know if you finished the campaign or season, if you were working on that. Send us an email, fanmail@gamertagradio.com, or you could also call us 786-273-7GTR. We'll play on the show. All right, so it's time for fan mail.
Fan mail at gamertagradio.com.
All right, so I sent to Paris, I think it was like 3.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
Yeah.
No. Goes to show you need to send stuff to me earlier. I ain't paying attention.
Yeah, not paying attention at all.
Because I haven't listened to anything. So guess what? I get to hear it for the first time too. All right, you want me to play the first one?
Go.
All right, here we go.
Here's number go for 1.
It. So this is Craig from South Carolina. This is my second time calling. And I noticed on the show for the past couple of weeks on Gamertag Radio is to talk about power and how some on the panel thinks power isn't as important as content. And as someone who likes a lot of power in my console, but I don't play PC because I don't want to spend $3,000 on a PC, I like power in the console because there's a lot of times where you're playing a game and if the graphical power isn't enough for the content, where you have pop-ups on the characters, their stutter frames, all that stuff can cause you to lose immersion in your game. So the more power you have, the better I feel overall the game will be with the content. And yes, gameplay will always be number one over storytelling and graphics, but I do think having all three hand in hand is what makes the best game possible. So that's why I like towers in my game, and I like my games look as good as possible. So when I'm playing, I don't lose that immersion in the looks. I just want to get my thoughts on that. Love the show. Keep up the great work. Bye.
All right. Thank you for that voicemail. And I've already said my 2 cents on it. Danny's already said his 2 cents on it. So, Mr. Peter, since you are here, what is your opinion on power in gaming?
I've said this from day one, though. Yes, experience is good and great, but I want performance. And that's why I dropped and went to PC, 2-3 years ago as my dedicated console of preference, right? I definitely appreciate other people, right? That they'll have their own, disparate decisions or reasons why they prefer one thing over another. Nintendo is one reason that's kind of like the counter to performance over story, right? Like you don't have to. But for me, I want to play my games at the best possible fidelity. That's why I go for power. I also don't always play experience-based games. You guys know this, and I've gotten flamed and roasted for it, and I don't care. I've never played a Final Fantasy or a Zelda game, and it doesn't bother me, because those are games that just don't give me a desire to play. But I agree with the caller. I definitely agree with him in the fact that if I'm going to play a version or an iteration of the game, I want to play it at its best, right? Not to say that that isn't possible on a console, but it's for me preference-wise, I'd much rather play it on a PC. That's why I play here.
But let's go with the second voicemail.
Hello, gentlemen. My name is Ismail Echo up here from San Diego, California. I had a simple question for you guys. I read a rumor that Cyberpunk 2077 was set in the Witcher 3 universe. Now, I don't know exactly what that means, if it's off-planet, same planet. Obviously, it's far off in the future. But could you guys elaborate into that? I haven't really done any much research about that. I just read it, thought it was interesting. Thought I'd bring it up to you guys, see if you guys could answer any of those questions. All right, appreciate it. You guys have a good day. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Again, Echo up here from San Diego, California. Thank you.
Thank you for that voicemail. Shout out to my San Diego people. Much love, because it is literally the greatest city in the world, so I'll never move. But to answer your question, no. No, they're completely separate worlds. It's not said at all. There was even someone has suggested to CD Projekt Red if maybe Siri would make a cameo in Cyberpunk 2077, and that was shot down immediately. And it was even said that they do not exist in the same world. So no, they do not. But it would be a fun thing to see some. I'm sure there's going to be some little Witcher Easter eggs in Cyberpunk 2077. But I think one thing to pivot off of what you're just saying, because obviously this just came up in the news with Cyberpunk 2077 and The Witcher, because CD Projekt Red was talking to some journalists in Poland, and Eurogamer put it up. It was Eurogamer Poland put it up, and it got translated obviously into English so we could understand. And a couple things that came out of that is there will be a new game set in the Witcher universe. Once they're done with Cyberpunk 2077, there's literally going to be another team that spun up to work on that. They're expecting a 4 to 5 year development time for that to happen. They made it very clear as a company, they're going to be working in two different worlds now, the Cyberpunk world and the Witcher world, as they make games and move forward. We do know that there's going to be, after Cyberpunk drops in September, 2021 is going to be all about expansions, DLC, things like that. 2022, they're expecting to drop the multiplayer component for Cyberpunk. And then after that, as development time goes, we can expect a new Witcher game. May not be Geralt or anything like that, but a game set inside the Witcher universe. After that, and rinse and repeat, and we'll move on from there. They also said, as far as Cyberpunk 2077 goes, which is of interest to us, they're very confident because they expect to hand out review code weeks in advance to let people play the game properly before the embargo lifts and they actually can post reviews and impressions and things like that. So I saw that. My ears immediately perked up. I'm like, wait, what? we get to play it hopefully early. So hopefully, we'll get to be a part of that process and get the game early and be able to really just deep dive into Night City and just play it, maybe multiple playthroughs, really jump into all the RPG elements that's in there so that when we do actually sit down and do a review for the game, it's not rushed. It's well thought out. Take your time, the whole thing. So I'm excited about it. Just goes to show the confidence that they have in the game. Also, they submitted the game to the ESRB, which means this will be the first time people outside the studio is actually going to get to play the game because they have to rate it. So that's happening right now. But again, they seem to be on track for September. A lot of confidence going there. So I'm excited, man. I mean, obviously no E3 now, so we're not going to complete the trilogy, but we'll see over the summer how this works with preview events and all that and how much more information comes out about the game. And I'll shut up after this. One last theory I have, April 16th, they're at least going to have a trailer, something. There's going to be some kind of deep dive information about the game on April 16th because this will kind of be their way to make up for the fact that they had to delay the game by putting out something on the original launch date. That's my conspiracy, Steve. All right, that's it.
Interesting. I like that theory, man.
So going back to the original the original question, right? And quick question here before I go into my deep dive here. Can we talk about components of the game now? Like, is it past the spoiler time?
Are you talking about The Witcher? Well, yeah, it was 5 years ago? I would hope so.
Okay. All right. So after you originally rescue Ciri, she talks about the worlds that she's had to travel through, like, and jump through in the spiral to escape the wild hunt. She mentions worlds where there's people who have metal in their brains and flew in magical vehicles. We're assuming they're like flying cars, right? Do you think, and I'm curious if that's what he's referencing, the colors referencing, that maybe it's like an Easter egg of them in the game referencing, a CDPR thing. It's not all the way implausible to think that that the world of Cyberpunk, the continent that you're on, is just one of the many worlds on the spiral. And if you looked at the spiral in the game, it was basically a big ass map. Sorry, just a big map of the multiverse of CDPR, which technically is the world where the continent is and the world in which Cyberpunk 2077 plays in. Not to say that they're in the same universe, but they're in the same multiverse, similar to the multiverse of
and I think so. What you're saying, I think ultimately that's what it'll be, where there won't be like just direct tie-ins to both, but and I think this is why people were asking about Ciri. Could she show up in Night City? Because of literally that reference of what she said. It would make a lot of sense, but they shot it down and said no. But I do think there's going to be some kind of Easter eggs. There's going to be some winks and nods towards both universes moving forward. They're just, why wouldn't you? The fact that they've made peace, obviously Mike Pondsmith is 100% on board with them, but they've made peace with the Witcher creator as well. Why not? Why not collaborate that and just have some fun with it? I would hope so, but I don't think like literally Ciri steps out of a portal like Thanos in the Night City and is there. I don't think that happens at all.
Yeah.
No, but I mean that does give slight credence to what the caller stated, right? That possibility of it. Not to say that it, like, you won't see like an image of her, like a painting of Ciri on a wall or something like that. I think you wouldn't. I wouldn't be surprised if they threw like a little Easter egg like that. But I don't think they'll show, like you said, Ciri just like blinking into a portal and then bouncing out or something like that, or maybe like on the screen. No, I'm just saying, like maybe showing her like on like one of the many screens you'll see throughout, Night City. Like you'll see like a reference to The Witcher or a story or maybe like a movie or a TV show series or so. I don't know. Wouldn't be surprised if you saw something like that. But like you were saying. Yeah.
No, I was saying that Remedy been doing that for a while now with all their games. So you see like little Easter eggs, and especially now with Control, there's like a lot more stuff about Alan Wake. And now there's going to be a DLC coming up for the game which is also Alan Wake related. So I like that. I like that stuff, man. That would have been cool, I think, if they were there's like a little story related with both games, with The Witcher and Cyberpunk. I think it would have been cool. Really, really cool. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so we have one more voicemail, and that's it for today.
Hey guys, this is Baby Girl Games. I'm a new listener to your show, and I really, really enjoy it. But one of those things I feel like is kind of missing is, you guys don't talk too much about computer games. And I know the gaming world's kind of shut down right now because of all the new consoles coming out. There's not a lot of new games, but there are still some amazing games that are on Steam or Origin. And one of the ones I'm surprised I haven't heard you guys talk about is Planet Zoo. If you guys were a fan of the old school Zoo Tycoon back in the early 2000s, this game is that game completely upgraded, and it's made a lot more realistic as well. So I would love to hear your thoughts and ideas on this game, and if you haven't checked it out, this is a definite must, and I would love to hear you guys talk about this game. Love your show. Thank you so much for your time. Have a good one. Bye.
Thank you for that voicemail. And it literally brings a smile to my face to have a female gamer give us feedback. Because, look, we get enough of you dudes sending us stuff. So I truly appreciate that. And I hope more female gamers can give us feedback. I mean, I know we have people like Tanya that are in chat all the time and, and obviously Mandy and all that. But look, we know you're out there. So leave us feedback, be it email, voicemail, whatever the case may be. And you make a valid point on what you talk about with the PC gaming. We don't talk about games like that enough. We probably should. I've personally not played it, which is why I've not talked about it. But, I've even said in the past few weeks, and now I got a lot of time on my hands. So I mean, there's definitely a backlog of certain type of games that I want to jump into and play. Like I've been talking about Disco Elysium. I've still not started it yet. That's something that's on the PC that 100% I want to dive into and play and talk more about. So yeah, you're right. We don't enough. I mean, it's definitely a break from the stupid console war talk. I'm really tired of talking about that. So yeah, I would love to talk more about PC specific games and just introduce the audience to more of those. Absolutely.
Yeah. What about you, Pika? You play a lot of PC games.
Well, yes. I have not played that game, but if you're interested, I would highly recommend. And I mentioned this 2018 after E3, Jurassic World Evolution. It's basically the same concept, but instead of dealing with the Zoo Tycoon type world, you're dealing with Jurassic Park. And you're running the amusement park, and then chaos always ensues because that's part of the theory of Jurassic Park. Things go down. I'm not going to say the S word in here, right? Because one of our good friends, DJ Knight, plays it all the time. I know he loved that game, but same concept as Zoo Tycoon, but just set in the Jurassic World space, and it's a lot of fun. And if you like business simulation type video games, that one will probably that'll be right down your alley, and it's available on all platforms and especially on Xbox.
I remember when I got my Steam machine. I think Paris, you were the one recommend me a game that was also available for that system. It was like kind of like The Sims. I forgot the name of it. That was actually pretty good, and I think it came out for consoles maybe a year ago or so. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It was similar to like Sim City, exactly that type of vibe.
City Skylines, yeah. Mm-hmm.
City Skylines. There you go. Yeah, mm-hmm. It looks pretty good. Mm-hmm. That one's pretty good. It reminded me of like Sim City. I used to play a lot on the Super Nintendo days. Yeah, so it's cool. Yeah, cool. Sorry, I can't talk about computer games. I don't play computer games, but yeah, it's all good. Anything else before we wrap it up here for you guys?
I think that's about it. I mean, like I said, obviously there's not a lot going on. The world is kind of just stopped, as far as news and just everything that's happening. I did see Phil Spencer tweet just now talking about how, he's happy to see people obviously using gaming as a way to pass the time while we're going through this. And someone asked him a question, how are the servers holding up? Have they seen an increase? And he was like, yep, they definitely have. But their IT and ops team have been working around the clock, to support everyone during this time. Because obviously people trying to play games, people working remote, all that. There's a lot going on the back end right now. So when you do go back to work, be nice to your IT person, please. I know you think we're all bad people that just want to not give you access to things, but there's a reason for it. Okay. Just be nice to us, because we're the reason that you're able to sit at home right now and still get your job done, so kudos to everyone on the back end that's doing all this work.
If you guys watched SmackDown, like with no audience, they were just wrestling, there were empty crowd. You watched that a couple days ago?
MMA, UFC fight night last night with no crowd.
Really? I missed that. Mm-hmm. How was that?
It was in Brazil. There was no crowd.
Oh my
Zero
God.
people. It was literally just the UFC with no people in the crowd. It was just, it was akin to like watching it on Twitch, or watching, somebody play the game. It was to not hear the fan or the fans go crazy or wild and all. Like you could basically hear the commentators without having to have a mic on them almost. Like, especially if a knockout happened or something crazy wild happened.
Wow.
It was unreal. And now, you see, the Suns are playing all of their games on Twitch. Like the rest of the season schedule, they're playing it on Twitch. The first night, I think they played the Dallas Mavericks. And I think they were averaging 5,000 or 6,000 folks on stream, like 5,000 or 6,000 viewers. But it's a wild and crazy time. It's insane seeing how sports has affected the United States in general. But I mean, just the lack of sports in general has caused or forced the population to find alternate forms of entertainment.
Yeah, I was reading also the esports, like Call of Duty League and a couple other ones. Now it's going to be strictly online. They're going to just stream the matches like that. And again, everything is changing, man. It's just a crazy, crazy time. Paris, you're going to say something?
Well, yeah, one thing we did not talk about in this episode, Warzone. It launched Call of Duty Battle Royale.
Oh, Warzone.
I have personally not played, so that's why I didn't bring it up. But Pete, didn't you play?
Yep, I was playing it Friday night for the first time, and then I played last night for a couple of hours. It is so much fun,
man. It's good.
I did not expect it to be as good. Remember, this is coming from the PUBG fanboy, right? Where everything else has been okay, but hasn't been able to hold my attention. I've always gone back, and maybe because it's new, I've heard differing opinions where, just like every other Call of Duty response on this, that, it'll come back, you'll get bored of it in 5 or 6 weeks, and then everybody will come crawling back to PUBG. I don't know. The fact that you have a respawn system, you have the gulag where you can, for example, the three of us, because it's only 3 people, similar to Apex, 3 people go in. Let's say we drop into a hot zone. Danny goes and dies first.
Oh, thanks.
Of course, I'm just going to throw that out there. Just perfect example. Danny goes down first. We're not able to revive him. You die. Instead of, and similar to how Apex gives you the opportunity to get a respawn crate, you go into what's known as the gulag. It's a prison surrounded by everybody else that's died. And you're given a gun, and it's 1v1 for the chance to get back into the game. The people in the crowd above you in the prisons can throw rocks at you that can give you an aim punch effect where you kind of get hit and you lose your aim or whatever. You can also tell your friend, if you're in the gulag with your friends, you can kind of see where the enemy is and give them a heads up. And you can throw a flashbang and or a grenade or a C4, depending on, because it's randomly spawned weapons that they give you. Like they give them to you on your person, so you have them as soon as you launch in. Mm-hmm. That's really cool. Or you can buy your friends back in if you've amassed enough money in game, either through kills, through contracts and things like that. It's pretty cool. And you only get one chance at gulag, but you have, as long as you can keep amassing money, you can keep buying people back in at the stations. But when you buy them in, a signal flare goes up, so everybody knows that you're on your way in. And then when you come in, you only have a pistol. They can shoot you from the sky, and then you die anyways, right? Mm-hmm. But it's really cool. And I like how you're not forced to always look at the map when you're in the plane, because you've got cities already marked out, and they actually have the names in white text above you. or below you. So when you're coming down, you can see the map. You can see the names of the cities that you're jumping into instead of always having to have your face in the map. Outside of that, the gameplay is really fun. SMGs are really overpowered, and I like it. I love the fact that you don't always have to have an AR. Shotguns are okay. As usual, shotguns are going to be the strong point in game because of their impact and their bullet damage. But it's a lot of fun. And actually, when you're going down in the parachute, you can cut it and you can aim up with your pistol and you can shoot people that are in front of you. Just got to remember, if you don't deploy your parachute before you hit the ground, you will go splat.
Yep. Yeah.
But outside of that, I've been having a lot of fun. I hope it's able to keep I hope it's able to keep my attention and my engagement longer than just the next couple of weeks, because it's the new hot thing in the hallway. But I mean, if there has been a counter to the PUBG / Fortnite battle royale genre, Warzone has an opportunity to take its rightful spot in the top 1-2 of those. We'll see. And it's funny because I jumped into a PUBG game on Friday and there was like 30 people on an NA server. It was really difficult to try to queue up. I didn't have an issue jumping into EU, but Call of Duty has always traditionally been a really strong NA title. So I may jump in over the weekend, today or whatever, just to see if if there's been any noticeable impact. And we'll see over the next couple of weeks, especially with people stuck at home now. Those servers should be solidly packed, regardless of the time period.
Yeah, it's a pretty good game, man. Really, really good. I just got to put more hours into that, man. So, all right, thanks, Pete.
Yeah, I've got, let's see, yesterday and the night before, and I'm already at level 41, maybe 42. So I've got most of my perks unlocked. I got the most important ones, right? Cold-blooded and Ghost. So it's a lot of fun. I'm having a good time with it. Looking forward to playing more of it tonight.
So there's two ways to download. You could download just Warzone for free, or if you have the game, you could also play that through there, and I think you will get more perks because you have the actual retail game. That's what I think I read, something like that.
I believe so. It's 180 gigs on PC if you download both versions. If you download the full game, I think it's only 53 if you just do the Warzone.
Okay. Oof. It's a big, huge file. Jesus. All right. So that anything else, Pete? Besides that, good.
No, that's it.
All right.
That's it.
All right, so let's wrap it up here. All right, head over to gamertagradio.com, post your comments and feedback, listen to our past episodes. Also, find us on any podcast app. Just search for Gamertag Radio, follow us, subscribe, or post a review. That will help us out a lot. So, also, if you would like to contact us to be part of Fan Mail, here's how. All right, so until next time, we're out. Stay safe, everyone. Peace.
Thanks for listening to Gamertag Radio. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.